Remote controls. You probably have half a dozen of these lying around your house. And today we're going to be looking at some of the more interesting remote controls that have come out over the years. The Meridian system remote is more control panel than remote control, given its enormous size and the fact that it feels more comfortable to just place it on a table and use it like that. It's from the 1990s, which you might have guessed from its blue highlights and green and red buttons. And like all good products from the 90s, it's got some curves. Very, very curvy on the side, and at the front you have two IR transmitters. To open it up and replace the batteries, you actually have to unscrew the entire remote control. Now, you might assume that behind this big shiny piece of plastic with fingerprints on it, that this is a display, but it is just a piece of plastic. The only indication that you have that anything's happening is this little red LED. Each of the buttons along the top can be configured to control each of the inputs for the Meridian digital surround processor that this goes with, and you can do that using the Meridian system software that it came with. Up next we have this, the BO1 Remote control from Bang & Olufsen. It's very sparsely populated in terms of buttons. It has a power off button. Yes, this red dot here is not record, it's power off in Bang & Olufsen land. Volume display, rewind, fast forward, a clicky button in the middle, and up and down. And on the back there's a record stop button. Now, what's really interesting about this remote control is it's meant to stand up like this, on a table, almost on display. If you lie it flat, it can sort of lie flat, but if you knock it, it will just roll away. It is also interesting because this is made out of a single piece of extruded aluminium that has been milled into the shape that it is. Back in the 90s, Bose launched a revolutionary lifestyle music system, and with that music system came another revolution, the relay controller. Its 34 small buttons and 2 switches commanded every aspect of the lifestyle system. But what makes a relay controller unique is that you can use it from any room in the house, or even outside, without any special sensors and without pointing it in a specific direction. The relay controller operates by using RF radio frequencies rather than the more common IR infrared. Some other remote controls utilize RF, but at UHF frequencies. These often fail to penetrate obstructions such as thick walls and have limited range. Bose chose to use high frequencies, which are closer to the frequencies used for cordless telephones. Because the relay controller uses RF, battery life is about 10 times that of an IR remote. All Bose remotes since have followed this principle. Here we have another remote control from Bang & Olufsen called the BO Remote 1. Yes, I know that's a little bit confusing that they use almost the same names for different products, but bear with me. And it's not just interesting because it features in this book here, and these are some of the prototypes of the BO Remote 1 that they went through before they got to the final design. But it's also interesting because, like the previous Bang & Olufsen remote control I showed you, it is also made from a single piece of extruded milled aluminium. Here you can see the raw aluminium being put into this press before being milled and then polished by hand. When holding the BO Remote 1, you feel like you're holding something substantial because it has a decent amount of weight to it, although the edges are a little bit sharp. And as you can see here, it's also quite slender, and it's all one piece of aluminium. Now, there is a small screen which indicates what you're controlling at the time, and you can also use this remote control to control older Bang & Olufsen products. Overall, the buttons are fairly nice to push and have a clicky feel. To replace the batteries, you have to get a small screwdriver and click into there, and then this unit, which has all the buttons in it, comes out. And the batteries are housed down in here. And once you take that out, you can see all the milling marks from the machining process, which is pretty cool. Now for the bad news. This remote control isn't cheap. If you break it and you need a replacement, you are looking at $900 New Zealand for the base remote control, rising to $1,095 for a different color of the same remote control, making this perhaps one of the most expensive remote controls ever. Next up, we have this remote control from Bose. Like the previous Bose remotes, it has RF frequency, so you can control it anywhere in the house. But it also has an infrared capability as well, so you can control your TV and various other home entertainment items. And unlike the BO1 remote control we showed that has a display that is only supporting one-way communication, this will support two-way communication, so it can give you some feedback about what you're listening to. So right now we're in SoundTouch, which is the network radio, and it's telling me the song I'm listening to and the station that I'm tuned into, which is BBC Radio 2. But other than that, it's a fairly conventional remote control with the usual lots of buttons. It feels quality though. It's got a nice solid feel to it and feels very well made. This LG remote control, which comes with their OLED series of televisions, is also able to be used by not pointing it at the television, but it doesn't use RF frequency like the Bose to achieve this. It uses Bluetooth. It also acts as a mouse pointer, as there must be some kind of sensor in here which knows exactly where it is, and then it allows you to point to things on the screen rather than having to click through all the menus like you would on slightly older televisions. It also has a nice clicky sort of scroll wheel here, a little bit like a mouse, and some clicky buttons here. Overall though, it's a fairly standard plasticky remote control. The next remote control we're going to look at is the Bolink 5000 remote control terminal from Bang & Olufsen. It's a precursor to this, the BO4 remote control. It was interesting for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it had a see-through LCD display which had two-way communication. So not only could you select things on the screen for the system to do, but it could also then read information back from the system to give you feedback on what the system was doing. It also had buttons on both sides, and thus it also had a display that could be read from the top and the bottom of a remote control. This design didn't last too long and was quickly replaced by this, the BO4 remote control. Well, that was a look at some interesting remote controls. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, please consider giving it a like. If you really enjoy my content, consider subscribing, or leave a comment down below and let me know about your remote controls. I'll be back again soon with more videos. See you all again soon.